everyone, it's Kelsey. This is Essentially Book. Thank you for stopping by my channel again today. And today we're going to do my January TBR. So I am going back to doing TBRs in January because I think just the way my year has been, I think this is a very necessary and needed thing for me. I'm trying to keep my TBRs more on the small end, knowing that I average read 8 to 12 books a month. And so I'm going to try to, of course, I'm in 3 book clubs. One is the Modern Mrs. Darcy one, and if I've read the book, I don't usually won't make it a priority, but the other 2 are in real life, so I do try to read those books. I don't know what my January book club pick will be. We'll actually meet in February for this January book club because we're reading Northwoods this month, so we meet in January, January 3rd for that, and I really need to get to it because I have not. So I am going to really prioritize that this week. But so some of my goals are going to be make progress on Pop Sugar, do my 25 and 25 books and my 52 books challenge. And then I have a couple other things in there randomly that I'm sure I'll throw around in my TBR. One of the things I'm really excited for is Shrink the Shelf board game that I pre-ordered last year on Kickstarter. And I totally cannot think of the booktuber's name who did it, but I love, love, love her channel. And I'm just totally blanking. So I will put her here. I'll tag her stuff in the description, but I am so excited for this board game to be in production. I have loved watching her play it, and I think it's a really fun way to tackle your TBR and get books off your shelf. So that's something, whenever I have it in my hands, I will be playing that as a way to read my shelves, and I'm super excited. I'm going to continue to be very mindful of reading my shelves too. So that's kind of how I made my January TBR. So let's get started on the books that I've picked for this month. So first, I don't have this one. I need to get it from the library, but as I said, I'm trying to make sure, my in real life book club books, I'm getting those. So for my January book club pick with my best friends, we are reading The Woman They Could Not Silence. Wow. We are reading The Woman They, I can't even do the right tense. We are reading The Women They Couldn't, nope, still not right. We are reading The Woman They Couldn't Silence. She wrote The Radium Girls, which I own, but I haven't read. So very excited for this one. I think it'll be very interesting. Our theme this year is female rage. So we can do whatever we want for that topic when it's your month. And that's what my friend Sarah picked. And then I'm going through the 52 book challenge. So it's 4 prompts for 4 weeks of January. So the first one is a pun in the title, and I'm going to be reading a NetGalley book, which is one of my goals this year. It's called Scott and Bothered. Get it, there's a pun. Here's the picture. I really liked this author's first book, so I'm very excited to read from her again. And then for Red Hair, which Jane, if you're watching, this is why I commented what I did on a previous video of mine. Demon Copperhead. I know I talked about doing an Anne of Green Gables read along, and you're right, Anne would fit perfectly for this prompt, but we're going to push Anne of Green Gables back a little bit. I still want to read it, but I'm not planning on doing it until maybe March. Starting it around then. So, because I still want to do some brainstorming with that. So this is what I'm going to do because this is one of my 25 and 25. And then the next one is the letter M in the title. And so again, 25 and 25, Local Woman Missing is the book I'm going to use. There's an M in the title, and get that one off of my shelf. And then the next one will be a letter N in the title. And if you've been paying attention, Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This will also get me Dark Academia off my shelf for our Fantasy Bingo challenge, which I need to focus on that too. So I might need to grab a couple books from there. And then for some rereads, well, it's not really a reread. I'm going to start my reread of Crescent City so that I can read the newest book because I still haven't read it yet. And then a book of the month book I want to get off my shelf. So that's another one of my reading goals that I talked about in a prior video. So one of my reading goals this year, 2 of them actually, is to read NetGalley and to read book of the month. So every month I'm going to try to make sure I read those books too. And I'm also going to try to stay more up to date on my NetGalleys, but that can be easier said than done. So I'm already reading into January for NetGalley. So for NetGalley, the book of all the ones that I have that I think I'm going to need to force myself to read versus just mood reading it's called All the Water in the World. And this was comped to Station 11. It takes place in like future climate disaster United States. Everyone lives in like the high-rise parts or on top of the, I think it's on top of the New York City Public Library or one of the museums, and they have to flee and go up north. And it's like a found cast of characters. It just sounds very interesting, but I know if I don't force myself to read it, it'll just sit on my shelf. So there's that. And then for book of the month, I wanted to grab one of my older ones. And so I did Before the Fall by Noah Hawley. And from my understanding, this is like a rich, this guy, the author wrote Fargo, the TV show. 11 people, 10 privilege, one down on his luck painter depart Martha Vineyards on a private jet headed for New York. 16 minutes later, the unthinkable happens when the plane plunges into the ocean. The only survivors are Scott Burroughs, the painter, and a 4-year-old boy who is now the last remaining member of an immensely wealthy and powerful media mogul family. That sounds interesting. I think Anne Bogle talked about this on her podcast way back in the day as being like a really good book. So excited for that. And then another book I just need to get off my shelf is Wintering. So that's what I want to read. Got 9 books so far, and then Onyx Storm comes out. So of course I have that pre-ordered and we'll read it as soon as it arrives. So 10 books on my TBR for January. 11 because I'll have a book club book coming in, and then I'm sure I'll mood read something, probably not Galley books, but I think that's a pretty solid TBR for the month of January, and I'm very, very excited to get back onto TBRs and to just read with a purpose, and to try to intentionally like read on my bookshelves. So see you guys next video. Hope you have a lovely day. Bye.